The Springfield Armory Prodigy Compact. Let's check it out. Guys, when it comes to the 1911, it's just a great gun. It's battle proven, used by the U.S. military from 1911 to 1985, and served in major conflicts and still serves around the world. But the big deficit for the 1911 is the mag capacity. Now we're seeing a number of double-stacked 1911s that have been introduced, and I'm telling you guys, there is a ton of different options. But when Springfield Armory introduced the Prodigy, the one thing that Springfield Armory has over most companies that are now introducing 1911s is the heritage and the legacy that Springfield Armory has in the 1911 world and have been around since 1974. So it's a proven, very well made 1911 series. So it was an easy jump to go to a double stack 1911 in that 2011 style. So today we're going to take a look at the compact version, which is a much more concealable handgun, and yet you still have 15+1 and the controls of the 1911 with Springfield Armory quality. And we want to give a big thank you to Springfield Armory for sending the Prodigy Compact DS 1911 for this review. Springfield Armory Prodigy, and this is their compact model. It is a double-stacked 1911, and it's in that 2011 style. Has that polymer grip shell, which gives it less weight, but yet accepts those larger capacity magazines. So one of the deficits for your standard 1911 is it had 7 or 8 rounds of 45, 10 rounds of 9mm, and so this gives you 15 rounds of 9mm, and you can up that to 17, up to 20, and they even have 26 round magazines, which is ridiculous. It'll hang way off the end, but you do have a lot of capacity. Now, Springfield Armory's been in the business since 1974, so they have a lot of heritage with 1911 specifically. So I was really excited that they went into the Prodigy realm, or the double stack 1911, and here is the original. It's a full government size 5-inch barrel, all steel frame. I mean, this is hefty and makes it excellent for competitive shooters or for even a bedside firearm or for tactical purposes. So it's just a big, in charge and large handgun. But one of the things about it early on was they did have some issues, mainly with the magazines. But for us, we got one of these early on as well, and we have not had any issues whatsoever. And so this has just been a great handgun. But with the new compact models, the magazines have been upgraded just to be very reliable. Now, this is the 3.5-inch barreled version, which is about your officer size. They do make a 4.25-inch barrel, which is more of your commander size. So you have two different options. To me, this is like the perfect concealed carry size. And honestly, it's like a little bulldog. With that grip, it gives it a full grip, and then you just have that really shorter barrel. And we're going to look at some other things that Springfield Armory did to make this more concealable. But first thing we're going to do is drop our magazine. It's 15+1. You get 2 magazines, and then check the chamber, and the gun's empty. Point the gun in a safe direction. Pull the trigger. Now, the magazines, nice. Looks like some kind of black nitride finish on them, and then of course they just slide right up into the mag well. There is some beveling around the end of the grip. It's not an extended mag well, and for concealed carry, I like that. Nice little base plate with divots, so in case you need to strip that mag, you can get your hands here and you can just pull that out. Now, with this handgun, handgun, it has that polymer grip shell, which is your 2011 style. 2011 is trademarked by Staccato and STI, and so this is really technically a double stack 1911, but it's in that 2011 style. And we're seeing a lot of different handguns that have come out. I mean, Staccato and STI, they have been out of the reach of most gun owners. I mean, they're in the thousands of dollars. Here, we are seeing a number of different, more budget-friendly 2011 style pistols, some that are more toward the lower rung. This goes into about the middle size, maybe even on the lower end of the middle. But yet it has that Springfield Armory quality, which is a forged slide, which is very important. It's not cast, and we have a forged barrel. So it's going to give it extended life, and it's going to give it really a lot of strength. Of course, this is milled out of one piece of bar stock, but we have an aluminum frame, so it gives it a lighter weight for concealed carry, which is important because if you're like me, I carry every day, everywhere I go, and weight does matter. But with the grip shell, it is polymer, and it has what they call the adaptive grip texturing, and man, it catches your fingers as you pull it down, but it's not too aggressive. And once you actually grip it and lock into the grip, it's very solid in your hand. I mean, it's just locked in. Now, for the 1911, to me, it's one of the most balanced handguns that I've ever shot. It just has that natural thinness at the front, and yet it's just very pointable. And then we have those intuitive controls that are of 1911, but again, we get that extra capacity. So first off, we have our grip safety, and this is a beaver tail. This is a holdover from the military trials back during 1911, but it's a passive safety. So for me, if I grip the handgun, I don't have to even think about the grip safety, yet it gives me a measure of safety with that grip safety because the gun will not fire unless that grip safety is depressed. And then as I come in passively, and I'm going to get a good solid grip on the handgun, you know, we can fire it. Plus, we have our ambidextrous frame safeties, and they are extended, and so just allows you to carry one in the chamber with a full magazine, what we call cocked and locked, and that's the way I like to carry it. But one thing also is the beaver tail has been shortened or abbreviated, so it keeps it from printing as much, and then also the hammer has been reduced somewhat, but it still allows you to be able to bring this back because of the serrations on the top, and it gives you enough to be able to cock the hammer if you want. Now we have our slide stop here, has serrated. This is also your takedown lever, and we have two slots for Picatinny rail. The polymer comes all the way down at the trigger guard. That adaptive grip texturing is on the front. It is undercut and double undercut. So it allows you to get your hand really high up onto the handgun. With the beaver tail, it mitigates a lot of the recoil in the web of your hand. The one thing about the 1911, guys, is, again, it's been proven. Combat proven, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, everything that happened in between, and it's still being used with special forces units all over the world. With the double stack 1911, this gives them even more capacity. And guys, honestly, the traditional 1911 was in 45 ACP, and that's my pick. But for 2011s, I really like the 9mm, and even with 1911s, 9mm has surpassed 45 ACP in popularity. We have a straight mainspring housing, which also has that adaptive grip texture. The mag release is right here. It is extended just a touch, able to just drop those magazines really easily out. The magazine release is not switchable to the other side, which is typical for your 1911. And honestly, guys, all the controls. It's just a 1911, which gives it a really nice trigger. One of the things about single action, because with this, you can't actuate the hammer. The hammer has to be in the rear position. And so when we pull the trigger, it actually just trips the sear, so there's very little action that goes into it. So your 1911 trigger is typically really good. And some can be really fine-tuned to be incredible, the best triggers on the market. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trigger action. And it has serrations on the front. We do have an over-travel adjustment screw, and we have relief cuts out just for weight savings and honestly just to make it look good. Here, hit a wall. It's very easy to the take-up's very short. A very crisp, nice break. And then for reset, right there, very quick reset. That's a really nice trigger. Check out the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 3 pounds, 7.4 ounces. 3 pounds, 10 ounces. I mean, that is an exceptional trigger. We have front and rear cocking serrations. The sights, we have a U-notch in the back, we have serrations, and then we have a tritium sight at the front, and it has a white outline. Gives it a really nice sight picture, and it is more of the 1/3 co-witness height. It's not really low, it gives it a little bit up. Now you'll notice it is optics ready, but the sight is actually attached to the plate. So we take this off, and we'll look at this in a minute, but the adapter plates actually have the rear sight attached. So you're not losing your rear sight, which is a big thing for me. But this is what they call their AOS plates, and this is from Agency Arms International, which designed this plate system. And these are actually machined from billet steel, and they are ordered though for the specific optic that you need. And the front sight is dovetailed in, so you can change these sights out even on the cover plate. Now with a 3.5-inch barrel, it is crowned, it is a bull barrel, and we do have a full-length guide rod. I'm going to go ahead and bring the barrel back. I mean, it is a really beefy, nice barrel that comes out of the end, and this actually mates up to your slide, and it just gives it a really nice fit. And speaking of fits, let's just take a look. Here, there is no perceived movement at all between the barrel and the slide. Even the slide in the frame, it is tight. Here on the back, if it's moving, I can't tell it. It is really locked in. Now, one of the things about a 1911 is that you get better accuracy with a tight fit, but you get better reliability if it's a little bit looser. And it's one of the reasons why the old USGI 1911s were called rattle traps, because they actually were a little bit loose, but it led to better reliability. But the problem is again, if you get this too tight, you're going to have a problem with reliability, but you're going to get better accuracy. So there is a really exceptional balance, and that's one of the things, especially a company that knows the 1911 can really set this up to have good accuracy. Now this is a black finish. It is black nitride. Very nice look to it, the barrel, and it just is really quality made, I mean, which is typical for your Springfield Armory. But it also comes in an FDE version as well. And so we have the black and the FDE. They may come out with a green version. But now with this size, there's a number of different handguns that we've done some reviews on. One that comes to mind is the Bull Armory, and this is their ultralight. It is really a high quality firearm, and even for that short barrel, I mean, it really shoots very well. Aluminum frame, a lot of the same features as the Springfield Armory Prodigy Compact, and they come in a number of different sizes. The Bull Armory is going to be a little more, but really not a whole lot more. And then we have the Gerson Brat. And this really surprised me. Full-length grip, which is 17+1, has that shorter barrel. There's something about the grip that gives it a lot of leverage, and I really enjoyed shooting this. Now you can see here how the beaver tail really comes up and sweeps up, and then with your Springfield Prodigy, it's very muted here. So a little bit better for concealed carry, plus the longer grip and the mag well. But really for the money, this is an exceptional value. And Gerson has been bringing in some really nice 2011 style handguns that have been surprising, but they are on the lower tier, and there are a lot of refinements that you're going to get with the Bull and the Springfield Armory that you're not going to get with the Gerson, but the price is considerably less. And so we'll go ahead and go into price, which I typically don't do, but the Springfield Armory Prodigy Compact comes in retail for $15.99. With the Bull Armory, it comes in at $17.50. Now, one of the things about Bull is you have to go straight to Bull to get these. So that means that that is going to be pretty much the price. Typically with your Springfields and most other handguns, when you go into a local gun shop, is you have market price. With the Brat, and this is absolutely crazy, is it's coming in at $679. Not sure how they do that, but it is made in Turkey. Now, one of the things also with the 4.25-inch barrel, it's $8.99. So this is really coming in at a very affordable price. But again, the refinements are much greater on the Springfield and the Bull, but this gives you a great entry-level handgun. And for 2011s, honestly, these are in the middle of the ballpark. In fact, maybe even the lower end. I mean, under $2,000 for a really nice 2011 style handgun that has a lot of quality. You know, it's going to be hard to beat. I mean, when you get into your staccatos and some of the other higher end handguns, you know, the triggers are going to be a little more refined, maybe the fitting, but I don't know. These are two really well fitted, well finished handguns. And with the Springfield Armory, you know, it is a US made handgun, just like the staccato. And with the tradition of Springfield Armory, again, being in business since 1974 and really specializing in the 1911 handguns, it's going to be an easy transition to go to the 2011 style or the double stack 1911. And weight on the Prodigy compact 3.5-inch barrel, 28.72 ounces. I mean, that is getting into a lot of your standard polymer frame pistols. But again, we do have the aluminum frame and the polymer grip shell. Big thanks to Fiocchi for sponsoring our ammo, all made in the USA, one of the biggest suppliers of ammunition in the country. And one thing about Fiocchi is it's very consistent. And so we really like to have it out here because we know that if we have any issues, it's typically not the ammo. Guys, I've been pretty excited about the new Prodigy compact. I really like the Prodigy. There were a couple of issues with some. We had no issues with our original Prodigy. But with the compact, it gets to that really small size, great for concealed carry, and yet you have a considerable 15+1, or you can get the extended magazines to go up to 17+1 in a very small package. It's really cool to see these double stack 1911s coming in with this smaller size, and yet very reliable. And this has been extremely reliable. Really solid magazines, very smooth action. Recoil is not bad, 9mm, just allows it to be really smooth. Even with the shorter barrel, it's very easy to control. I love the texturing and the sights with that black outline, and then that front sight that's just white. Makes a really nice sight picture. But it's really good to see Springfield Armory. They know their 1911s, and it's good to see them stepping in really to a compact size double stack 1911. It's been just super reliable, which we expected. Now for disassembly, we're going to drop our magazine, go ahead and recheck the chamber, make sure it's empty. First thing you want to do is to bring back your slide, and you want to line it up with this little notch in the slide. It's the first notch, and we're going to line up our slide stop. And so once we get that crescent, we're going to go over to the other side and we're going to push through on our slide stop. And you have to get it lined up. Now with the 2011 frames, they're a little thicker, so sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to push out your slide stop. Now I'm going to go over here with my small Allen wrench, which is a tool we need. I'm going to push through and go ahead and get that slide stop out. Now we're going to release our barrel. Now you want to do this very easily, making sure that your recoil spring stays into place, and we'll pull it right off the frame. Now a lot of times with full-length guide rods, you push them out and you have a little pin. With this, actually this comes out. It's a little tricky because there's a bushing right here. We're going to see if we can just wiggle our way out. There it goes, and there goes the magazine. We have a dual captive guide rod, and with the springs, dual springs, and you can take this off if you like and keep it clean, but then you want to leave this in one assembly. And you'll notice the little squiggly pigtail comes out of the end, and it fits onto your little bushing under your dust cover. So this kind of holds the spring into place. Next, we're going to drop our link pin, our barrel link pin, and we're just going to go forward. Now here we have the 3.5-inch bull barrel, and again we have that 11-degree crown, which makes it really, just preserves your accuracy. It just protects the rifling, but very well done. And again, this is hammer forged. Also with the slide tooling marks, there are none. It's just very well done. You'll notice that there's no detent here for your 80 series little safety, trigger safety. This is the series 70 style. And here with the frame, just a 1911 metal part, and then of course you have that thicker grip. But beautifully done, which is no surprise. This is a nice Springfield Armory. So this assembly is fairly simple. It's not your polymer striker fire assembly, but it's very easy to get acquainted with. Here we take our barrel link and push it down and then go back in to the front of the slide. Set that up. Next we're going to reassemble our guide rod system. Now we're going to take our little plunger and we're going to put it under the dust cover again. And now we're going to make sure our link is in the up position, and then we're going to bring this in. Bring your recoil spring and guide rod and just set it down. Again, guys, it can be a little stiff. You just got to kind of move it around a little bit to get it set into place. And then we're going to bring our barrel link back out. This is where your slide stop goes through once you get it inside the frame. So we're going to bring it back over our frame. Once I see that little barrel link, I'm going to go ahead and put my slide stop in there to save the place, bring it all the way back and line up that small crescent. Then I'm going to lift it up and we're going to bring it around. Then you take and push up and in like that. Test for function, and we're back in business. Now, keeping your firearms maintained and cleaned is vital. Otis makes some of the best cleaning equipment out there. They make a number of different kits that are dedicated for different rifles, pistols. They also have Shooter's Choice, which makes excellent CLP and bore solvent and different cleaning materials. The Ripcord is one of their signatures, and there's a whole system based around it. They are suppliers to the U.S. military. So check out Otis Technologies, highly recommended, and we want to thank Otis for being a sponsor of the channel. Now you do get one cover plate free with the handgun and whatever you choose. And again, this is the agency optic system that fits really well. You'll notice this slot in the bottom, and there's a corresponding slot once you pull off your cover plate. And that's really what locks this in. So it gives it a very solid fit. And then you just choose whichever optic you want. We even have a QR code on the plate itself. And again, that sight is attached, so you're not losing sight. Of course, if you want to change out your optics for a different footprint, you know, you're going to have to pay, I think those are $119, which, I mean, this is a really nice adapter plate, and it does have the sight. And it does come with the screws to be able to attach the optic. You do get your Springfield Armory box. One thing I love that Springfield does is they do include a gun rug or a gun case. And then here, we can open it up. The pistol is here, and of course we have a nice padded case, and you have your extra magazine. So this is a really nice addition. This is something that I do use, whereas boxes typically I just put them to the side. You do get some instructions, and this really is a QR code to go to the Springfield Armory website, and it gives you all the information. So it's more of a paperless kind of system. We have our government mandated lock, and we do have a few additions beside the cover plate. It comes with a couple of Allen wrenches. I haven't yet found what this fits. It doesn't fit the slide, doesn't fit the optics plates, but these were included. And there's also this little plastic little cup or sleeve, and I'm not sure what that is either. So it's there, and it's going to go in this box until I figure it out. So overall, just a really nice box and a gun case. Guys, again, retail price $15.99, and then of course dealer price, market price will typically be less at your local gun shop. And this is in that medium range, honestly a little less than medium range price-wise, but the quality, you're going to get some good quality with this handgun. What are some pros and cons? First off, it's all in the 1911 controls. It shoots a lot like a 1911 with just a little bit thicker grip, but the bonus is you're getting 15+1, or you can get extended magazines. So this really brings it up to modern standards, and it's that legendary performance of your 1911. I love the adaptive grip texturing. It is excellent. Feels great in the hand, really gives you a good hold on the handgun, and it has a little bit of a smooth area right here just for your finger. Really nice muted beaver tail and hammer just to make this a little more concealable. And I like this size for concealability. If you're carrying around a 1911, especially the officer's model, this is going to make a better option. One of the things about an officer's model is typically it's 6+1, it's a thin grip, and sometimes it just has a little more recoil. With the DS 1911 compact, you have a thicker grip, where you can get more grip on the grip. So it just leverages a little bit better in your hand, and it shoots really well. You have front and rear slide serrations, and we have an accessory rail, and we have the optic system, which is very secure with the AOS system. And we have those really 1/3 co-witness height sights. Fit and finish is just excellent. So what are some cons? First off, the adapter plates and having to order one, I would give that a little bit of a ding, but typically people get hooked on certain optics and certain footprints. And so if one comes with the handgun, you may have to wait to order it. And that's a little inconvenient, but then once you get it, it is a solid optic system. The AOS system really locks this plate in, but really right out of the box, you can shoot it as is, and it does have the night sight. It's typically a little bit more expensive than your standard 1911. So that is a part of the pros and cons, but yet for a 2011 style handgun, this comes in at a very reasonable price. And I think we're going to see the 2011 series altogether just coming down because of the fierce competition, which is better for all of us. There were a few issues with the original Prodigy, but so far with the compact, there have been a lot of good reviews, rave reviews, and I'm going to give it a rave review. It is just an excellent handgun. We had no malfunctions at the range. It just shot extremely well, and even for this smaller size. This gives you that 15+1, and yet you have a very small handgun that you can carry for concealment, or for that matter, for home defense. So kind of sea of new double-stacked 1911s or 2011 style handguns. Why choose Springfield Armory? Well, the heritage and the quality that Springfield Armory has established with the 1911, is just legendary. And then taking that transition to that double-stacked 1911 with a very small package, whether you go with the standard Prodigy or with the compact. There's just a lot of quality that goes behind it, and the forward slide and barrel are definitely a huge plus. But you get all those 1911 controls, and yet you have a 15+1 or above round capacity. That gives you a lot of capability. And then you've got the quality of Springfield Armory standing behind it. So I'm a big fan of the Prodigy, and the Prodigy Compact just makes a great concealed carry option. And again, a huge thank you to Springfield Armory for sending the Prodigy Compact DS 1911 for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Trials, and so it just gives, I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. I'm just not sure where I'm going with this. Very intuitive, very easy with the safety here, with the, okay. So it gives you a really good mag capacity, okay. Well, the nitride finish on the Springfield Armory Compact, it was a great gun. It had full, it's a great gun. That just, or for a tactical thing, or things, the tactical things, really brings a lot of quality to the platform. Okay.